How's everyone doing today? Dr. C3 here, and we are back with another weekly recap for the Competitors Pokemon League, the CPL. Up first on dock, we have the Kansas City Kingdras facing off against Shepherdie and the Seattle Seadras. It'll be a good matchup. The Kingdras are 1-0, while the Seattle Seadras are 0-1, coming both from impressive feats and defeats. So let's get right into it. The Seadras versus the Kingdras. It'll be a good matchup. Looking forward to this recap video. We see Trainer Shemp here and the Seattle Seadras coming out with some Scowl, but it's actually going to be Garchomp coming out for the Seadras, or I'm sorry, not the Seadras, the Kingdras, as Jack the Clubs comes out for the Seadras. Good matchup. We see the Frisk ability come off, exposing the Yache Berry on Garchomp. So we now know that this Garchomp can take an Ice Hit if it likes. Going to be able to switch out. Goes into Malware, the Registeel. Registeel is going to be taking up that Will-O-Wisp though from the Jack the Clubs. Very interesting to note because Malware really doesn't want to be taking a burn as it typically is a physical hitter. Now moving forward, we see Substitute come out for the Jack the Clubs. And that puts Shepherdie in a commanding lead as Malware goes for the Thunder Wave but couldn't connect due to the Substitute. Both of them sporting that Leftovers, getting recovery piece by piece, although that burn is nullifying most of the recovery for, the Registeel on the Kingdra's end. Switches out, goes into Power Raid, which is going to be the Roserade. Great nickname for a Roserade, as he does predict the Leech Seed quite nicely, effectively getting a free switch in. Now knowing that Shepherdie and the Seadras cannot touch this Roserade, he's going to switch out, waste his Substitute, go into Duke the Arcanine, who is sporting that Intimidate for this matchup, as we do see the Hazard stacking come out for Roserade. We knew this was going to be a potential due to the only Hazard remover being Defog Scissor on Shepherdie's side of the field. Gyarados comes out on the switch in into Arcanine. Not too surprising there, as the Intimidate's going to come off, effectively nullifying this Flame Charge, doing even more little, saving the same, more little than what it normally would. So Arcanine knows it needs to switch out here. Goes out into Marilyn Monroe, which is the Primarina. Now Primarina is a hard hitter, and since Gyarados is going to have to Mega Evolve this turn, as per CPL rules, we know that this Primarina can put in the damage due to the Dark type pickup for the Gyarados. Gyarados coming off for a mean Waterfall, still going to do a big chunk, sizable chunk in that matter, close to 40% to this Primarina, as we do see the Leftovers come out from Primarina as well, indicating that it's more of a bulkier type set. We're going to see how much this does against the Roserade coming in for the switch. And as you can see, this is going to be leaning more towards a bulky Primarina, as that Roserade took that Moonblast quite well, if I have to say so myself. Switching back out, going out into Katsumoto, trying to take the potential poison move. Will it be a good read? And it does. Sludge Bomb comes out, but it is going to be ineffective. A great switch for Shepherdie and the Seadras coming out. Now, we do see the Hidden Power, so this is going to be Technician, not Natural Cure. Roserade come out. Hidden Power Fire knocks out the Scissor, making this a very hard game for Shepherdie to come back, knowing that the spikes are going to be on the field long term. See the spikes dig in, Intimidate come back out for the Roserade. Not really going to do much, as Roserade is a special hitter, as we found out. Close combat though, going up against a poison type. It's not really going to do much. Maybe he was predicting the switch into Gyarados again, getting that Intimidate off. But another Sludge Bomb is going to hit the Arcanine, and we do see it get the 30% poison, as Sludge Bomb typically does. Black Sludge coming out for that Power Raid, just continually gaining health, much quicker than it would Leftovers, which is nice. Switching out, goes into Scathe, the Garchomp this time. Got a lot of switch-ins for this Arcanine. As the Flare Blitz comes out, we're going to see if it's going to be Rough Skin or if it's going to be Sandville, because we do know that the Seattle Seadras can rock a Sand team if they'd like. as Duke is going to go down to the poison from the Roserade. Roserade will be picking up the kill on that one. Shempity goes into the Frosty here, seeing if it can knock out the Garchomp in one hit. It'll be quite interesting to see with that Yachi Berry. We do know that Garchomp is most likely to be faster. We see the Stone Edge come out, connect, and is going to one-shot that Mega Glalie, effectively, just making it now a three-up game for the Kingdras. It's going to be hard for the Seattle Seadras and Shempity to come back. Jacko Clubs coming out for the initial response, not really gaining much with that Frisk because we do know it still maintains that Yachi Berry. Roserade comes out as the Kingdras know from before that Roserade is a reliable response to this Gourgeist. The burn comes off again, not really doing much. We see the lefties again for Jacko Clubs. And the the Sludge Bomb is going to come back out. Does a decent chunk, but the Seed Bomb's also going to come back up. That's going to do virtually nothing. I don't know if he was predicting switch, or if that was truly his last resort to get back into this. So we do see the leftovers come off for both teams again. Will the Black Sludge for Roserade. Switch out goes into Goon the Tyranitar. We're going to see what kind of Tyranitar set he's packing this week, as it was his first round pick overall. There's a Sandstream, so he did decide to bring the sand. Not really too much to abuse the sand, however, as the Hidden Power Fire comes back out. Going to do virtually nothing to this Tyranitar, especially with that massive special defensive boost it gets with the Sandstream ability. Now, will Roserade stay in, or is it going to be able to switch out? So Powerade does end up switching back out. Goes into Jabu Jabu, which is the Gyarados. And we're going to see what T-Tar decides to go with here as a Rock Polish. So it is going to be a setup T-Tar, boosting the speed up by 2. Now we know that it is going to be the fastest thing on the field, barring Choice Scarfers. As a low kick comes out, it is going to one-shot that Gyarados there. So he prepped well for the Gyarados with that T-Tar. He knew that it was going to come in and take the hit. Now we do see Sylveon come into play. Goon goes for the Stone Edge. Will be enough to take out the Sylveon, and it will not. It lives on 29 as the Hyper Beam comes out, and this is probably going to one-shot. Yep, we do see it one-shot. Sylveon is known to be a monster when it comes to that Pixelate ability, and there's no surprise there. Hyper Beam must have been a tech specifically for that T-Tar. Primarina comes back out, as it is, one of the only 2 left remaining for the Seadras. Gonna get the knockout with the Ice Beam there. So nice, it's dwindling the Kingdras, but is it going to be enough for Shempity to make a comeback here, as he did lose his setup sweeper in Tyranitar there, so it seems. Ampipom is going to come out. First time slap hitting the field. Shempity knows he needs to withdraw. Goes down to Jacko Clubs, predicting the normal type attack, maybe possibly the fake out. Yep, there's a fake out, so he predicts that well. Now, since we know this is fake out, Ampipom's most likely probably not going to be scarfed in any way. And we'll see if it decides to switch out, but it instead goes for the knockoff. That's going to knock out the Jacko Clubs there, and Gourgeist goes down to the knockoff, and it just looks like a losing battle for Shempity on his end. He goes out into Maryland. I don't think Maryland's going to be able to, sweep the rest of the Kingdras side of the field, as he still has 4 Mons. 2 status through Will-O-Wisp, but we do see the, I believe, is that Normalium Z? Yes, it is Breakneck Blitz. So we're going to see the Breakneck Blitz come out for Ampipom, and that is most likely going to take out that Maryland Monroe, I'm assuming, the Primarina. And Shempity and the Seattle Seadras are going to take a 0-4 defeat against Kingdra City, or Kingdra Plays Games and the Kansas City Kingdras. Now, switching up the pace a little bit, we're going to go back out into the... Oh, we see communication error on the DS. That's no big deal. we are gonna go back out into a showdown match now. We do know that this is a 3DS league for the most part. However, the showdown matches will be occurring every now and then, as you know, some people just can't get ready, you know, what have you. It'll be updated, you know, throughout the weeks. I'll let you know what, you know, matches will be weekly recapped as showdown, which will be weekly recapped as DS. So here we have Aaron and the Rome Empoleons facing off against Ricky Manvinder in the London Lucarios. So we see both of the lineups there. Second week going into it, I know that I faced the Rome Empoleons last week, and he brought a roughly similar team. Didn't bring the Seismitoad with the Gligar. Instead brought, I believe, it was Cabalion, and I'm drawing a blank on the last one, but that's not important. That's last week. This is this week. Let's jump right into it with the leads on both sides of the field. Oh, let me turn the music off. Sorry about that. So here, we're going to actually reset that just because of the poor start. So we see Kieran Black and Aggron coming out. Now we do know that this is Mega Aggron. It is going to stay in. It didn't fear the Kieran Black at all, as he goes for the bold Stealth Rock play. He could have had Earth Power, but instead, you know, he knew that he could gain the advantage there. So we're going to go. We see Gribbet the Seismitoad go for a knocking off Kamala's leftovers. Kamala now not be able to get that reliable recovery. It might get rest. I'm not too positive. Because it gets Wish. Okay. So, Wish coming out. Armaldo probably going to try and get rid of those rocks, but instead doubles out into Lancelot the Gligar. Now, Gligar is known for its incredible bulk. As we do see its switch into Landorus. A good check for Gligar. And we're seeing a lot of doubles here. Buzzwole coming up. I'm probably predicting him to switch out into Kieran Black, but instead eats a mean Toxic. I don't think Buzzwole really appreciates the Toxic there, as it is going to eventually rack up, you know, as a Beast Boost Mon. We do see the Substitute, however, come out, so he is not fearing that Toxic whatsoever. U-Turn going to come out. Doesn't break the sub, as it is 4 times resisted, I do believe, due to the Fighting type and Bug type. No Webs today comes right back out. The Armaldo probably trying to rapid spin those hazards away. We're going to speed things up just a little bit more, as we do see a Focus Punch Buzzwole coming out. Breaks the sub, doesn't take any damage, so the Focus Punch is going to come off, effectively destroying this Armaldo. So it looks like, unless Florges has Defog or Gligar has Defog, that Webs are, or I'm sorry, not Webs, but Rocks are here to stay. Johnny Sins, the Kieran Black, does come back out. Has that weakness to rocks, so really wanted to get those going. As Aggron is the primary switching, comes right back out, not fearing the Earth Power whatsoever. But takes it, lives it like a champ. Is there going to be a Heavy Slam coming off? Yes, there is. And Kieran Black also takes it like a champ. That must have been a, you know, heavily bulk invested Kieran Black, and the Ice Beam is going to polish it off just in case you wanted to switch into Landorus on the Earth Power. Mew now coming in, knows it can outspeed. Goes for the Psychic, gets the crit. Crit doesn't matter. Kieran Black is now down. We do see a 5-4 lead for Manvinder in the London Lucarios. We see another double. Gligar back into Florges now as a Nasty Plot Mew. So it is not Scarfed, it is not Life Orb, it is Nasty Plot. So it's setting up. We do see the Psychic almost doing about half damage to this Florges. That's a really heavily invested Mew, probably either Modest or I assume Timid, as it goes for another Nasty Plot. So we're going to see setup from both ends, seeing who can out setup who. Nasty Plot may be able to win in the end, but we do see the wishes come up for Florges, trying to keep it alive for now. We have a +3 Mew, and you know it's still taking those Psychics. We're going to see if he's going to try and go to +6 here. Yep, there it is. I'm sorry, it wasn't +3, it was +4 at the time. Now +6 Mew, taking the Moonblast well. Now will this Florges be able to take this Psychic? Yes it will. It is probably going to knock out that Mew with the next Moonblast. Indeed it is. So we have a tie game here. Aggron and Mew down for Manvinder, and Kieran Black and Armaldo down for Aaron. Intimidate comes off, not really going to matter. Landorus hits a strong Earthquake, effectively knocking out Florges, outspeeding. Goes out into Celesteela as a response. Gravity comes down, grounding this Celesteela, making it so that he can now hit him with Earthquakes. He's going to switch out now, knowing that Gligar is probably the better response. But everything can now be hit by that Earthquake from Landorus, and it is looking like in a great spot to just clean house. Seismitoad, it's going to, take 50% of that Earthquake. Skull comes out, Landorus eats the hit, still being able to live just by a little bit. Next Earthquake is going to kill, does get a crit. I don't know if the crit mattered or not, but at the end of the day, Celesteela, gravity does return back to normal, so Celesteela's levitating again. Perfect timing for Aaron. He's got Celesteela, and from what we know from last week, Celesteela can clean house against 4 Mons. That's unfortunate. Air Slash does a lot to the Marowak, and we do see Celesteela outspeed the Marowak completely. Marowak wasn't able to take 2 hits, and it looks like the special attack raise. So maybe Celesteela here. There's another gravity. So maybe trying to ground for Buzzwole or Kamala Earthquake. I'm not really sure what that gravity there was for. However, Buzzwole's going to come through. Ice Punch doesn't really do a ton now that it's grounded, and Air Slash looks like it's just going to be able to sweep at the end of the game here. What seemed to be a bad position for the Roman Polions now turned into a Corkscrew Crash. Oh, and that's going to destroy the Kamala. And Aaron does end up picking up the subtle, I shouldn't say subtle, the 1-0 sweep late game with Celesteela yet again. And with that, I'm going to pause and bring to you the Week 2 statistics for the CPL. Alright, now we are back with the CPL standings and main page as of Week 2. We see all the teams and their records. This should have been really posted in the end of last week's video, but for now on I will be weekly updating at the end of this video, or at the end of these videos with this page. Now, as you can see, we have the playoff seeds in the middle there. We have Kansas City, who is taking a +5 differential out of 2 games. Great start for them. And the London Lucarios, for some reason, wasn't updated, but we do know they ended up going 1-1, and they are +2 at this point instead of +3. Just subtle things to note there. Regardless, I don't think it affects playoff seeding. Now, you're probably wondering what the Cincinnati Sacreds are doing, being a do not play and -3 or -6, whatever. Essentially, they are still, not being able to play their games each week, and as we move forward, we will find a replacement coach for that team if, Ash vs. Red does not respond to us in the appropriate amount of time. Also, the reason why I wanted to display this page, you can see the league leaders and the free agency moves for each week. So, as you now know, Chansey was dropped on my team for Savalius will be effective next week. Sandslash was effective this week for the Seattle Seadras. He just decided not to bring it. And that's new. That's what is new for essentially the recent free agency transactions. Going into the league leaders, we have Celesteela, who picked up 2 sweeps at the end, being 8-0 in 2 games played, 2 games won, really representing for the Roman Polions, even though they do only obtain a +2 differential or a +1 differential in each match. Celesteela putting in major work. Obviously, the Tapu Lele sweep this week coming in clutch, making Tapu Lele number 2 spot. Landorus as well, just showing that those Earthquakes can hit really hard, especially under gravity. Mew, you see a lot of picks that start to make sense as we round up, 4 through 8 in the rankings. We see Mew, obviously, a number 2 pick, and we see things like Sylveon and Ampipom and Roserade, who are also effective kill leaders in other leagues. And we do see the defensive monster Tangrowth, just because there's a lot of Pokemon that are 2-0 or 2-1, so that grants them the spot for rank 8 instead of rank 13th. I believe that's everything covered going in, leaving week 2 and going into week 3. That being said, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you did like the video and you do like the content you see here on the channel, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as I try to post the CPL content as much as possible, as well as individual content for shining highlights and other things. Yeah, other coaches' information, if they would like to submit it into the description of the video below, you can go and check all of their stuff out. It's a pretty cool place. We have the rest of the playlist for this video, or for these CPLs matchups and weekly recaps and what have you. I believe that is it. I'm going to get up out of here, and I hope you guys have a fantastic evening.